You're listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
Hi, I'm Mitch, and I'm dressed like a geography teacher who hasn't been touched by another human hand in 20 years.
Got a name?
Davey.
And we are
the Bargain Bin Gamers.
You actually really are. That was a really vivid picture that you just painted.
I know, it was my Trixie Cartier kind of moment. You know
Oh, is that what we're going to do from now on? Didn't tell me, by the way.
I just got to keep you on your toes, because me saying that, is more funny for you.
It is. It's
when
quite
you
funny.
don't know that I'm going to say it, right?
So really throwing a spatter in the works.
Everyone listening to the audio version of this is going to be like, I'm going to include a photo of me dressed as I am.
Of course.
On the cover art.
We'll take a cute photo afterwards. So.
Anyway, this is the YouTube show, podcast, and occasional Twitch stream where we put the gay in gaming.
While also looking after your hip pocket.
It's well looked after and secured and tight.
And sometimes bulging.
Sometimes bulging. Not yours, because you just paid your rent.
Yeah, sure did. Now I have somewhere to starve. Thank
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
Sheltered from the elements, even though my apartment is freezing cold.
Yeah. And weren't you telling me before that in your new apartment, you need coins to do your laundry? That's interesting.
I am, not to out myself as a weird povo person, but in my apartment complex, we have a communal washer dryer area.
I'm sure lots of people have that.
Now, I love
it.
In the
1980s.
I think my place was built back then. But they require coins, which is a foreign thing to people these days. But I work a bar job and people do often tip me. In lieu of flirting, which I appreciate much more.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Well, since we got that out of the way, before we begin, we'd like to give a big shout out to all of our BQN podcast network patrons, especially to this show's associate producer,
Sam Johnson.
Sam Johnson of the Johnson Sams.
The fuck is that?
Who is, congratulations, messaged me as of today, has officially foreclosed on his house and is now a farm boy.
Yay!
Well done, Sam.
You just get hotter and hotter.
Yeah. You don't even know what he looks like. You've never even seen a photo of him.
Still hot. Farmer wants a wife?
Yeah, the Missouri farm boy. I hope I said, sometimes I can't remember which M place he's from in the United States.
Missouri, Mississippi.
Could be Mississippi or Minnesota. I think it's Missouri.
I think it's Minnesota. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, he'll message me when he listens to this and correct me if I'm wrong anyway.
Oh, thank God.
So thank you very much for your continued financial contribution of the show, Sam, and to all of our network patrons as well. Remember, if you would like to help keep this and other BQN podcasts coming to you every single week, you can sign up to be a patron over at patreon.com/BQN.
For as little as $1 a month. $2 United States dollars.
Well, yeah. No, I think it's $1 US, $2 Australian.
Oh, yeah, lol.
Yeah. Plus a 500% pharmaceutical tax. Ooh, too soon.
You guys want copper?
Yeah. Anyway, before we get too political, I just need to say something so I can write this show off on tax. This show is a production of Double T Media, which is my company, which I use to produce and edit podcasts. There, I said it. Our show is now officially a tax write-off.
We love that. Now, Davey, let's get to the key point of today. Can you tell me a little bit about what we're doing today?
Today, we are catching up with some dear old friends who we met at PAX last year. Dear old friends. We've
known them for years.
Spoke to them for 5 minutes, but they're dear old
Godparents to my future children. Honestly, we go way back.
How about you introduce them since you...
No, you're on a roll. Go on.
It is... Look, we're just going to bring them in because it's getting weird. It's getting weird. We have got Tex and Niosis, who are the developers of the, soon-to-be indie hit. It's just a demo at the moment. Soon-to-be indie sensation, Key Fairy. Hello, how are you both?
Things have been good. My voice is terrible at the moment because I've had a cold. But aside from that, things have been good. Not stressing about having to release a demo is nice.
Demo out and then immediately a big festival and then crash and then crawl back into working.
On the whole topic of festivals, I mean, we met you at PAX last year and got a little time on the game. And you've actually been sort of shopping the game around a little bit. You know, we saw you on I think it was was it called the Fluffy Games Festival on YouTube?
Frosty Games Festival.
Frosty
Games Festival.
He was
Yeah.
50-50ing it pre the recording.
It's because it's the Australian version of the Summer Games Festival, and then during the Summer Games in Australia, it's a little bit more frosty.
Colder.
Right.
Although it's not really that frosty in Queensland.
No.
It's pretty hot.
And like a mild.
I was going to say, where would the frost possibly be in Queensland? But yeah.
I should have remembered Frosty because all the pictures were of like soft serve ice cream cones, but I still said Fluffy.
Oh, well.
So anyway. And you also did the Queensland Games Festival. You've been on tour.
We won an award at the Queensland Games Festival. We won People's Choice.
So winning awards, you're showing up all over the place at literally every festival, and you've released a demo for Key Fairy. Obviously, we've yapped on a little bit about Key Fairy, and we haven't really kind of introduced to our audience what is Key Fairy. So we always like to ask this of devs when they come on. What's the elevator pitch for Key Fairy?
It's a hand-drawn, folkloric pacifist bullet hell. That's the elevator pitch. You're playing a pacifist fairy dancing through the forest and trying to evade monsters and calm them down.
Sounds like a Saturday night, honestly.
Mm.
Sounds like fun.
Weirdly, a large amount of people are like, oh, that's just like me. I'm also a little fairy in the forest trying to make friends with monsters.
How long has Key Fairy been a thing for? It sounds like you've been working on it for a couple of years.
It started actually like way back as a university project. And then spontaneously, unexpectedly and delightfully, we ended up getting some support from it from our local government and then the Australian government. And we've been working on it since then. So it's had like about a year and a half of full-time development so far.
Yeah, no. So we started the project because the projects on offer at the university weren't really what we were interested in. It was all industry projects working with all these weird companies. And we wanted to do something that was fun and indie. And so then we had to find like what was a crossover of the things that we're both interested in. And I'd spent years trying to focus on like really fast-paced, action-heavy, but non-violent games. But then Niosis, you've been developing all of this like world building and TTRPG style design, right?
Yeah. And like, I hadn't been working on my illustration in like a game sense that much, but I had been working on it in the background. And that was also interesting to bring in.
The hand-drawn artwork is that...
That's Niosis.
Oh, wow. It's incredible. Like, what's the inspiration for that art style?
Yeah, well, like Tex is saying, like tabletop role-playing games, actually, like original Dungeons and Dragons and all the kind of dark fantasy stuff that comes out of that, as well as like fairy tale books and that kind of like old illustration style.
Yeah, I remember when we met at PAX and I asked you about the art style because that was like, I was like obsessed with it. I've been yapping about it ever since. But you mentioned that you draw on black paper and then you translate it into the game. How does that work? Like, do you like... I'm like, it's like magic to
Not
me. I'm
taking
like,
photos with an iPhone.
It's basically, there's an amount of sorcery, and we did actually like literally take photos with our phone. Like, I just took photos with my phone for a while. But yeah, so basically like the black paper and then white like gel pen, I can use that to make the black and white art, as well as just like, or kind of ordinary ink on paper, and using the two different things to make like two different like visual languages. And then yeah, using like just a printer scanner or like taking a photo with my phone literally, and then editing it digitally to make it like an asset that you can use, and animating it like a little paper puppet.
yeah, no, it definitely gives like the paper puppet kind of energy in the game as well. Like everything's kind of dancing and everything's got like lots of motion to it and things like that. The choice to do the black or the white on black, I should say, was that like an original choice from you, Niosis, or like what inspired that? Because it's very distinctive.
It is very distinctive, yeah.
It's a combination of two things. One thing is that it's inspired by like 1-bit games. We're inspired by a lot of those retro black or white games, all pixelated. The other reason is when we first started the project, did not like coloring. If you look at every single sketchbook I've got, it's just ink over and over and over again. And so we figured, like, just skip the step.
Yeah. Just invert it. Saves it being black ink on white. You might as well.
Now, I recently had a chance to play test the latest build before it went to demo, and I did give some feedback to Tex that I struggled a little bit with the difficulty. Now, I was doing keyboard and mouse controls, which cramped my little 41-year-old hands. But I have since played the demo again with an Xbox controller and did find it a little bit more approachable, but still pretty challenging, especially once you start to get up to some of the... Yeah. Is that intentional? Like, what were you hoping to get out of the difficulty?
It's super complicated to do balance appropriate level of challenge, because partially because we've gotten really good at the game, but also partially because, like, we sort of want it to be challenging. We want it to be a bit of a challenging experience, and to some extent, the argument that the game is making is that you can have a challenging, action-heavy experience, and it doesn't need to be this character who goes through slaughtering their way through the land. That's not actually a requirement of that experience. But it is a thing that the level of challenge can turn people away. And so we're trying to be intentional about how many options we provide to tailor that level of challenge to you, so that you can still get the intended experience just at your level of ability, I guess. But it is a constant back and forth.
Yeah, and I mean, we've talked a lot about this with, more difficult games lately that we've been playing, and there are some people who will just go out there and unapologetically, make their game as hard as it can possibly be. But then there'll be those who'll be like, oh, we're going to make it really, really hard or really challenging, but then we'll include like a mode which makes it a bit of a cakewalk.
Thank God, because I'm a filthy casual. So,
what are your thoughts? Where's the balance there for you with those sorts of options?
Oh, I think part of the joy of it being challenging is then overcoming the challenge. So, if it's just too hard, the point that you can't play, it's not point playing a little bit. Yeah, it's hard trying to find that balance of, when you get those games that are really hard and then a cakewalk, often people want somewhere in the middle. And so we don't just have like an easy mode. We have like multiple different options to tailor it to the kind of difficulty that you want to be experiencing, and to work around like bits that you find like perhaps, more frustrating for you personally.
Well, so we've got a whole assist mode that has a bunch of options, which is generally the thing that they say in accessibility research, is that what matters isn't having one option that makes it easier. It's having enough options that players can tailor it to their level of ability. So you can adjust the game speed slightly, or you can add in health regen, or you can like give yourself invulnerability or something. But you get enough options to tailor it to you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I guess it's a balance as well between keeping the game open for as much of an audience as possible versus, well, no, there's going to be specific types of gamers that want to play our game and others that will not, I guess. What has been the other feedback you received from playtesting? Because I'm on your Discord and I see you do rounds of playtesting quite a bit. What's some of the other feedback been like?
I mean, a lot of it has been really positive. Like, a lot of people have responded really, really positively to the world building and the narrative and the art, which is really lovely. But it's a constant thing about the challenge, because some people then will be like, it's too easy, and they'll breeze through it. Which is this interesting thing that a lot of games that are going more artsy or narrative-y just don't have challenge. And we're sort of making life harder for ourselves by being in a pretty action-heavy genre and then trying to tell a story.
How dare you?
We found that like we do have an audience of people who like it for that fast action gameplay, and so they want it to be difficult, and then people who just want to go experience the stuff. We've also been getting a lot of feedback around like, well, it turns out making a game only using black and white is hard. and so a lot of the feedback has been around like the visual clarity of the game. Some people who have like color blindness are finding it awesome, and some people are finding it difficult. And so a lot of it is like trying to, narrow down that. Also, a lot of people who just want more lore, which is good, I guess.
that was me. I was
Me,
playing
please.
through. I was playing through the demo yesterday, and I was like, "What's going on here?" It was kind of where I wound up at. But, and I want to touch on the story and the characters and all that kind of stuff in a bit. But I wonder, what did you originally envision that people would get out of the game, and how has that changed over time?
Originally, in my mind at least, it was all action, all bullet hell, but with the fun aesthetic and non-violence. So that was the whole thing, is you just go through, blitz your way through the forest, and then you'd end. And there was no dialogue and no story. I pushed for ages for there to be no dialogue system. I really didn't want to have to write dialogue.
But the dialogue is so funny.
Yeah, it's super cute.
That was one of my favorite parts when I was playing it. I remember saying it when we interviewed you the first time. I was like, who comes up with these jokes? Because they're funny.
Tex is like, no one's talking. No jokes.
They talk gibberish and you fly past them and they want to murder you.
It's just so much work to dialogue in.
Tex added a dialogue system. We played it and we were like, this is awesome. And then we realized how doomed we were.
Who's writing the dialogue? Is that you?
I'm writing the dialogue.
You're writing the dialogue because you don't only have to write the dialogue, because you've got like branching trees, like because you get different options.
There's branching dialogue, and then some of the characters, if you come back to them later, they'll have new dialogue. That's too much work. It's ridiculous.
Some say we suffer for art, but you don't do it willingly, I say.
Yeah. If you've played the Key Fairy demo already, don't get too used to the talking characters because they may be
I'm going to remove all the dialogue.
Suspiciously, the curse includes being silent forever.
Yeah.
That's life.
That's how the fairy keeps her wings. And so I know that we were just speaking before about how you've been at different awards games and you've just won People's Choice and things like that. Congratulations again. But in terms of the kind of critical praise that you've both been getting, how has it affected the game and your direction for the game? Like, has the kind of like the overwhelming positive feedback kind of spurred you on and kept the dialogue work going and kept you motivated? Or like, what does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, for me, like really early on, when we were starting the project, we had a few people who were like our friends. They'd play the game and they'd be like, "That was really good," and they'd look at us and be like, "No, like genuinely, that was like really good." And helps knowing that, I think that kept me going.
I think that ultimately you can't take every piece of praise or criticism and then shape the game to it, because everybody wants different things out of a game. But I definitely think that how people have responded to the world building and the dialogue and the art has influenced the direction the game has gone a little bit, to focus more on those elements that I wouldn't necessarily have thought about when we started designing it.
Every now and then someone has some insight or like new perspective that is like kind of already there, but then they'll see something that we didn't notice, or like they'll see a way that we could be doing it that we didn't think of, that just completely reshapes, how we've been seeing our own game.
But and this is something that we've spoken to a fair few indie developers about this, and we've touched on a similar thing where it's like all the extra work that really goes into it to make like a good game like really great. But I guess it would be fairly rewarding when you've put in all the work and you keep getting told like how fantastic it is. So I guess like give yourself like a bit of a pat on the back, you know what I mean? Like obviously the hard work's paying off. So, and it means now when you release the game, you get to be like, look at all these awards we've won. How good we are. Above that price up.
I'm just imagining though that when you were at PAX and you were like, oh my God, I love the jokes. Tex was like,
yeah, I was thinking, sorry. It was like my favorite.
God, I gotta keep writing it now.
Oh my God.
Yeah, terrible. Mhm.
But you've hooked the market, which is the ADHD white gays. So you're welcome, by the way. We will be playing and we will be paying.
No, you're
It's
right.
good. That's the target audience.
Yes.
You clearly are doing something right.
Mhm.
Like, you don't keep sort of getting like more government funding and more recognition or awards, and you've already built a wonderful community around the game, like through your Discord server and what have you as well. But one of the things that we love exploring on this show is that there is a proud, almost a sort of like a proud queerness to the game and its themes and its characters. Like, what would you say is how have you integrated sort of like queer themes into this game, which might not be immediately apparent to people who play it?
We have a lot of this recurring experience where someone will come up to us and say, "That looks like a really gay game," and we'll be like, "You're right." But there's not like, but it's interesting because there's not like it's not on a cover saying like, "Here's a game about being queer in some way," but I think like it draws on a lot of the shared interests of like a lot of queer culture, as well as like specifically being about like a narrative that breaks the status quo and about being a character who just kind of exists in a mischievous way and breaks like the expectations of how protagonists usually act. This one's constantly making fun of everything around it and dancing around. And I think like, yeah, to some extent, all that sincerity comes through.
No, it's a good point, and that's something that we've found on the journey we've exploring games developed by queer people or just queer games, however you kind of want to put a label on it. But yeah, it's sometimes it's not like just a gay character or a queer character. It is just the way that character behaves, or maybe just the the creative people behind it.
But also, like, as you mentioned, like the narrative or like how the game is played, like it's subversive because it's a bullet hell game, but you're not being violent. So you're flipping the genre on its head. You don't have to slap the rainbow flag on it to say, look at how subversive we are. You're doing it in kind of more of like a genre bend way, which is still cool.
Well, you mentioned as well that, you're not like the battling, and it made sense to me when you said it, you're kind of calming the monsters down. Do you want to explain that a little bit? Because does that kind of feed into what Niosis was talking about just then a little bit?
I think so. So it's sort of interesting. Initially, it was just, let's see if we can remove this mechanic and what happens. And what happens is you create a game about building, like restoring community and building community. But yeah, so you're dodging around the monsters and they drop little stars, which are a complicated metaphor that we're constantly trying to figure out. Is like that their soul? I don't know.
I was hoping you might explain it.
Yeah, I just thought it was pretty.
Listen, I really want people to come out of it with different perspectives of what the story is and what the meanings are. I don't want to just be like, here's nothing, but I want there to be like, we've got an idea of what the meanings of everything is, but I want people to have the opportunity to like have a book club and disagree about what the stars are.
Amazing.
Add it to the book club, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
To me, the stars represent like people aren't violent for no reason. And there are a lot of complicated reasons that are outside of the scope of what we could talk about in our game. But, part of that is that there's like a lot of turmoil in people sometimes. And part of building community is trying to like break the spell of violence over people, the conflict that exists between people.
No, that makes sense.
It's
And
quite lovely.
yeah, it is. And it is kind of nice because I remember like just even playing it and you get through a bunch of monsters and you go off screen and I come back and they're still there and I was like, they've reset, they're going to attack me again. And then they're like, no, they just banter with you.
Just hanging out.
A couple jokes at you, like,
yeah.
Yeah, because violence isn't like their nature. It's, because that's not the case with anyone.
Yeah, that's one big thing that I I think we both really want to push against is that there's this whole idea in a lot of really grim, dark media that's become popular that like human nature is to be violent. But I just think that that's bullshit. I think human nature is to find and help each other, and then we're put into larger scale systems that encourage people towards cruelty, but that's not natural.
Yeah.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And you're talking to a big fan of the utopian Star Trek future. So I 100% believe that we can get better as a civilization and a society. But no, that's really cool.
I did have one quick question, and I hope that this doesn't come across incorrectly. But in terms of the game, is there some Undertale undertones in it?
I love Undertale. Undertale's my favorite game, but I wasn't thinking about it when we were making it. I was only started to think about it afterwards, and only in the context of like, how can we be different from Undertale, but still deliver to the same audience? Because I really liked Undertale, and then there was nothing for years.
I agree. Yeah,
I think that that's a space, and But Niosis has never played Undertale.
Neither have I. Niosis, neither have I.
Are we supposed to be gamers? What are we doing?
I'm sorry.
It's literally on like
ridiculous.
I'm waiting for it to come on special on the Switch eShop again.
Oh my god,
we call it the Bargain Bin Gaymers, all right.
But the reason that I brought that up is because I've done like a few pacifist runs of that game, and it just you meet charming characters. They're aggressive. They're upset, and then you can change them, and then they become quirky, fun characters. And I think to be compared to that game, even if it's just by a small margin, is a massive like shout out. Like you guys hit that kind of energy the same way. Even if though it wasn't intentional, it's still got the same type of message, which is you don't have to be violent. You don't have to hurt these people. You can find their issue, solve it, and then they become calm and you get to befriend them. And I think that that's like a story and a gameplay style that isn't really represented anywhere. So.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely exploring the same space, and it's like had a big influence on how I think about games in general and life in general. So
we were thinking of it did come up because making pacifist game, there is one very notable pacifist game, and I think part of it as well is like we decided that we would not give you the option of because Undertale has the option to completely destroy everything in your path. And part of it is intentionally going like, no, that choice has been made for you already. Find out how to do it.
I love it. And it goes with that ethos that Tex mentioned before, that like, I don't think it's human nature to be violent. So I think taking that away, it gives you your own voice, which I think is really great. And it was so like succinct and nice. And Tex, you made me feel things. And I want to play the game more. Like a little pacifist fairy. It's going to be great.
I have to play it.
You really need to play it.
I know.
I'm actually a bit frustrated.
Like, all right, calm down.
He rags on me for not playing like Ocarina of Time and stuff, even though the game came out before I was born. And Undertale came out a decade ago.
There was a 3DS version of Ocarina of Time when you were more than capable of playing it. So anyway, it's not what we're here to talk about.
Sorry, we're getting off topic. This is very nice.
Coming back to the queerness in the game. And this is probably more about yourselves as developers. What does it mean to you to create a queer indie game in today's gaming landscape? Because there is this real, I've described on the show before, as this thriving underground queer indie gaming scene. So what does that mean for you?
I think that I mean we're definitely really part of a community. I think that. In Brisbane, there's the Squiggly River community, and there's just everywhere you go, it's really easy to find the queer community at every event we've gone to. It's been really nice, and I think we feel that as well with the players when they come, and there'll be this whole community of queer players who connect with the game on a different way than you would with something that you can't relate to the creators as much. Squiggly River is the local Brisbane weird artsy indie dev community, and it's got a lot of queer representation and support, and it's influenced everything that I've made since I started going to it. It's been a really just a big part of how I think about game development and community.
Mm. Well, that's something I've noticed since we've dived into the indie scene, especially the queer indie scene, is everyone kind of knows each other. People will be like, I know other people will come on the show and be like, oh my God, you spoke to Niosis and Tex. Love what they're doing with that game. We've spoken to different people who are in like the Game Boy homebrew scene, and they all know each other's work as well.
Yeah.
But they all support each other's work too.
Oh, the small queer community.
But it's global as well.
Yeah,
like,
true.
we're talking to people
Yeah.
all over the world for this.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah, it's weird how, like, you know, the more that we're getting involved in it, just discovering this whole world that I didn't even know existed beforehand. And I think, like, everyone was helped by someone else, and everyone now therefore really, really wants to share as much as they can. And so I think, like, the community becomes really strong because people are constantly trying to offer help. People are therefore accepting help, and so it binds everyone together really quickly and tightly. And I think that contributes a lot to it.
Are you working towards a timeline to bring a full version of Key Fairy to the masses?
There's a timeline. We have an idea of when it'll release. And it's next week. It'll be out next week. You can buy it on the Nintendo Switch. Don't even worry about it.
No.
Tex is lying blatantly there. We're hoping to release hopefully around the end of this year / early next year. We're kind of still navigating when would be the best time. Not necessarily for like when we've completed it, but more like when it feels right. If there's a Switch release, it's after we've made lots of money from the game.
Yeah. Because I've learned, you have to pay someone to like do that.
It's tricky. It's tricky to get on every platform except for a computer.
Yeah, of course. So, well, speaking of financial support, if any of our fans or any of our listeners want to support you, whether, like I said, financially or even through like giving feedback and things like that, where can they find you and where can they support you?
The best place to find us is on Discord. Come join like the little community there and say hello to us. You can find it pretty easily on our website. We've also got a couple of social media sites, so if you look for us, you'll probably find us. TikTok's where we're most active. If you want to find us, support us financially. The best thing that you can do is wishlisting the game. We don't have a Patreon. We might one day, but the best thing is just to share it with people and to hit the wishlist button, because then you see it when it comes out, and we get to see the number go up and up and up.
And it'll make you both very happy, I'm sure.
Yeah. I think I walked away from PAX last year with about 50 new games on my wish list. Yeah. Everything looks too good. So we'll include all of those links in our episode description. But before we wrap up, like anything else that you would like to share with our audience around the future of Key Fairy or anything, what we can expect, or just anything we haven't covered?
Or some hot goss, if you
hot goss.
If you so feel like you're putting
it doesn't even have to be about the game. It can be about anything.
Hot goss related to Key Fairy. There's going to be a castle.
Okay.
That's hot goss.
That's a Bargain Bin Gamer exclusive, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Nobody knows.
Flash all kinds of graphics over the screen. That is super exciting, and we're very excited for more of Key Fairy. So for everyone out there, if you haven't played the demo, it is free on Steam right now. Add it to your wish list, and it's a good chunk of a demo too.
It's a decent play.
It's a decent play. You can spend quite a bit of time on it,
and hopefully don't suck as much as we did. But
my poor hands.
If you struggle with the demo, turn on the assist options. That's the goss I want to share.
No. I want to get good, as the gamers say.
That's the other option, is to get good.
Yeah. Well, I have to because I'm excited for a possibly Christmas New Year release and I have to be good at the game.
Yeah, I'll get it for you for Christmas.
Oh, thanks, Carl. You'll steal for that, but not Undertale.
Oh, no, I'll also have to get you a laptop that you can run Steam on.
Yes, please. Sorry, my grandma's old laptop doesn't do anything well.
Hopefully this game will run well on your old laptop. Hopefully.
Yes.
We'll have
I'm
to
sure
see.
it will.
Try the demo first.
Let's find out.
Just melts my old Acer laptop.
Oh, dear. Well,
If it
thank
melts,
you.
it'll be a fitting end.
Well, thank you so much for your time. We absolutely loved getting to chat to you again. Will we see you at PAX again this year?
Yes.
We will. Okay, there's your hot goss. We
There's
just got
hot
it.
goss.
We just got hot
That's
goss.
hot goss. We'll be at
PAX
PAX.
meet Key Fairy, yeah.
Yeah,
off the
excellent.
press.
I'm still waiting to hear about my
meet the
media
real Key
pass.
Fairy.
Oh, yeah, meet
There
the
will
real
be,
Key
yeah.
Fairies.
If you can, there'll be a key fairy hidden somewhere in PAX. If you find that key fairy, you get to take them home. They're a
However, they
person,
will be slingshotting around the venue. So you gotta catch them.
Well, we'll see you there. We can't wait. Thanks again so
Hopefully
much.
with our media passes.
Yeah, hopefully. Waiting. Applications in.
Please. We're real media.
Well, I've had fun. Have you had fun?
I had a great time.
And why do we had a good time? No, it's so lovely to catch up with people like Tex and Niosis and see what's been going on the journey.
It's also good to see, like, from where we saw them last to now, like, so much growth, like, so much has happened, and, like, it couldn't happen to, like, better developers, in my humble opinion. Like,
I know, lovely people making a lovely game
that has, like, cool graphics and, like, a cool, like, story, and they're funny. And notoriously, the dialogue in the game that will be remaining is really, really funny.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the big selling points, I reckon.
I know. I'm just going to make sure. I'm going to play it over and over again just to use all the dialogue options.
Exhaust
everyone.
But yeah, like I said, probably couldn't happen to any better developers. I'm really excited to see where it blossoms into.
So follow along on the Key Fairy journey. We've got lots more stuff coming up on the show soon. We've got streamers. We've got esports commentators. We've got Joy FM hosts. It's all happening here on the Bargain Bin Gamers. So keep an eye out. Please make sure on YouTube you hit the like and subscribe button and all that jazz. Follow the show on
Give us a thumbs up.
Thumbs up. If you're listening to the audio version, do give us a review on your podcast app. It does help others find the show. And go to patreon.com/BQN and give us all your money. Give us your money. You don't have to do that.
Give
you
me
don't
money.
Until next time, I've been Davey.
And I've been Mitch.
And we've been
the Bargain Bin Gamers. Yeah, we did it as a plural.
Congratulations.
Oh, we did it.
Yeah, we did it. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you give it a big thumbs up on YouTube or follow the podcast wherever you get your podcast from and leave us a 5-star review. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Blue Sky and follow along on our live Twitch streams. You can also continue the conversation in our BQN podcast Discord by clicking the link in the episode description. Don't forget that the Bargain Bin Gamer is part of a larger network of podcasts called the BQN. You can support this and other BQN programs by becoming a patron over at patreon.com/BQN. We'd love to hear your feedback on the episode. Leave us a comment on YouTube or send us an email to bargainbingamer, GAYMER, @gmail.com. Until next time, au revoir.
Double T Media.